certainly will not be choosing people to date that work under me.
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees.
A few years later,
he finds that there was a failure to be as completely honest with the tribunal as these folks should have been. The quote that is really sticking in my mind right now is when he talks about the testimony of Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. He basically says that they did not put concerns that were raised by the defendants to rest, that while the defendants did not prove that there was an actual conflict of interest and meet their burden of proof, an odor of mendacity remains. That's a direct quote from page 16 of this opinion.
Man, this judge needs to be fired, cooked, removed. He need to get the Fani Willis treatment. All of them need to be removed. This is a horrible day for America. Just the fact that she, after everything we saw, for those of y'all who saw the hearings in full, seen any of my videos or the countless other videos, all of the articles, cell phone records, 2,000 calls, 12,000 text messages, we paid in cash, the friend said she did it, Terrence can't recall, so much drama related to this damn case that proves that this lady is obviously corrupt. Oh, it's a black thing. And like, there's so much BS here. The fact that this issue, like, at least the guy said, okay, we can remove Fani Willis. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. I know I'm going off here. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. So basically, Judge McAfee, he said that Fani Willis can stay on the case if she either does one of two options. Well, these are only two options that he gave her. One, remove herself in her entire DA's office, which she obviously is not going to do, or she fires Nathan Wade, which obviously if she chose either option, then it would be the latter. However, Fani Willis is arrogant, okay? So I don't think she's going to do either. I think she's going to try some sort of appeal process to try not to do either, because if she does that, it might throw the case into turmoil. You got to get another prosecutor to try to pick up where Nathan Wade left off. So you got to go through all of the evidence again. First off, she has to find somebody. Then she's got to go through all the evidence, or they have to go through all the evidence again to make sure they're up to speed like Nathan was, and see if they come to the same conclusions and want to follow the same processes. It's just going to be a big mess for her no matter what. However, the fact that she's even allowed to continue, Miss, I paid in cash. Like, this lady was acting crazy as hell in the courtroom. There's all kinds of issues like campaign finance violations, gift reporting violations, relationship reporting violations. She violated a lot of stuff. So even if the judge was like, well, we can't find a conflict, which is what he said, but there's an appearance of impropriety, then because there's so much combined corruption, mistakes, whatever you want to call them, she should be removed based off of that too. It should be a combination. Like, you look at the whole picture. That's what it seemed like he was claiming to do, is look at the whole picture. But anyway, let me go ahead and react to this MSNBC interview. Let me shut up here for a second and see what they got to say about this, or MSNBC clip.
We're going to turn now to some breaking news. As you know, we've been waiting for word on the Georgia election case and whether Fani Willis can continue. Lisa Rubin has breaking news right now. Lisa, what can you tell us?
Hey, Mika, we have a decision from Judge Scott McAfee of the Fulton County Superior Court. In a 23-page decision this morning, he finds that there is not an actual conflict of interest that was proven by the defendants here, but he also finds that there's significant appearance of impropriety that infects the entire current structure of the prosecution team. And therefore, he gives Fani Willis a choice. She can either choose to remove herself and her entire office from the prosecution of this case, or she can determine that Nathan Wade, the special assistant district attorney who has been helming the leadership of this case, can himself be removed from the case.
She's not going to do either one of those. If y'all saw how Fani Willis was acting in that courtroom, this lady arrogant as hell. She's going to argue there's no appearance of impropriety either. There's no conflict. See, at first in the hearing, she was arguing that there's no conflict. But I guarantee you that now she's going to try to argue, oh, appearance of impropriety. What are you talking about? There's no appearance of impropriety. Appeal. Like, she's going to try to get this decision not to hold. And I think that's where she's going to fail even more, because they always say pride comes before the fall. And this lady obviously demonstrated herself to be extremely arrogant,
which would allow her and the remainder of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office to go forward. Mika, that's a victory for Fani Willis here. But that having been said, despite the fact that she has been given an easy choice here, notwithstanding that, there is plenty here for the Trump folks to exploit. And in particular, he finds that there was a failure to be as completely honest with the tribunal as these folks should have been. The quote that is really sticking in my mind right now is when he talks about the testimony of Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. He basically says that they did not put concerns that were raised by the defendants to rest, that while the defendants did not prove that there was an actual conflict of interest and meet their burden of proof, an odor of mendacity remains. That's a direct quote from page 16 of this opinion.
I mean, bro, like, obviously, an odor, yeah, the whole thing stinks. It does not pass the sniff test. Okay, anybody, you ain't got to be smart. You ain't got to understand legal language. You don't need to be a freaking PhD, doctorate in college to understand that these people are corrupt. They were lying under oath to something, perjury, doing all kinds of things that they probably got all kinds of other people locked up for. But since Judge McAfee has worked with Fani Willis, donated to her campaign since they had a prior relationship, a lot of people were skeptical about whether or not he was going to make a fair decision, right? And this, to me, even though he could have just not done anything and said, no conflict, whatever. Even though he could have done that, in my opinion, if it was a different judge who did not have that prior relationship with Fani Willis, in my opinion, he would have removed her from the case, because he would have been like, look, we can't, like, bro, they got a cell phone record. They proving y'all lying to the court, like all kinds of stuff going on. You can't stay on the case. If you, as a judge, believe that she is lying to the court, which there's plenty of evidence demonstrating that she was, if you believe that alone, you're done. Nah, you're perjurizing. Like, nah, you're done, because I think you lied. Even if you can't definitively prove, they have those cell phone records, which they said DA Fani Willis's office uses to prosecute other cases that they tried to claim is not good evidence because sometimes they're inaccurate, but they say her office uses them to prosecute other cases all the time. So if you know that the evidence presented is demonstrating that, well, looks like Fani Willis and Nathan Wade lied about when their relationship started, then you already know they're doing a cover up. Okay, a cover up. And what you're doing here is you're allowing Fani Willis basically to get away with it, even if it's a minor setback. You're still enabling her to get away with inevitably whatever she was doing, and potentially whatever she wants to continue to do.
And he says he's not under an obligation, again, I'm quoting to you, to ferret out every instance of potential dishonesty from each witness or defendant ever presented in open court, but reasonable questions about whether the district attorney and her hand-selected lead SATA, that means Special Assistant District Attorney, testified untruthfully about the timing of their relationship, further underpin the finding of an appearance of impropriety and the need to make proportional efforts to cure it. At the end of his decision, Mika, he's essentially saying, look, disqualification isn't necessary here, where there is a less drastic and sufficiently remedial solution available. And that's when he gives Fani Willis the choice. You can either remove yourself in your office, or you can say, as one of our colleagues said to me informally today, boy, bye, you're gone, Nathan Wade, and we will continue to prosecute this case.
Like, you heard the way she just yes, Queen, and she's like, yes.
And we will continue to prosecute.
Bro, look, like I said, I don't think she's going to do it. But let me let this video finish out here. I think her arrogant ass is not going to let Nathan go, because she said, because of the way y'all did me, we going to be friends till the day we die. Like, she might have just been talking because she was being stupid. But I just don't think, she just doesn't seem like she has it in her. She's going to just fight it out to the end. She's not going to give up any ground. But I could be wrong, but I doubt it.
I just want to zoom out for a second, Mika, and also make one other point to you and our viewers. Notwithstanding the fact that Fani Willis gets to remain on this case, the Trump team and the co-defendants really succeeded here in one other key respect. You know that the modus operandi of the Trump legal world is delay, delay, delay. This motion was made by Ashley Merchant, who is the lawyer for Mike Roman. He was the director of operations for Election Day for the Trump campaign. She made that motion on January 8th, 2024. We are now on March 15th. It took us more than 2 months to complete all of the briefing and evidentiary hearings and closing arguments, and now the decision on this. And in the meantime, nothing else on this case moved forward.
I'm calling corruption on that one. Okay, I'm calling BS on that one because after everything we saw, I do not recall. We paid in cash. She paid me back. I mean, well, Fani Willis, did you report that on your financial statements? Well, no, I didn't have to report it because, I paid him back.
What?
When have y'all ever heard about, like, okay, there's bribery law, right? When have you ever heard that, well, it's not a bribe. It's not a bribe. I paid him back. Like, what the freak? This has got to be one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Again, he kind of like tiptoed in it, right? He definitely fence-sat with this decision, okay? But in my opinion, after them cell phone records came out, it was over. Okay, it was over. They got extra witnesses. Like, I think that what's going to happen is the Trump team's already working on appealing the decision. Okay, Michael Roman's team and co-defendants are working on appealing the decision. So what's going to happen is if it goes to appellate court, they're going to be able to get even more things exposed about Fani Willis. And potentially, in my opinion, she still could be disqualified. So just like Fani Willis is probably not going to give up, neither is Trump, Michael Roman, and the remainder of the co-defendants. Okay, so in my opinion, regardless of the decision that came today, which I knew that it was a possibility something like this could happen, Fani Willis's troubles are far from over. Okay, there's going to be so many investigations into her. The truth is bound to come out no matter how desperately she tries to hide it. Her goose is still cooked. But we'll see how it pans out in the end. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. Let me know what y'all think about this. I'm out.
They hired him for almost $1 million because of his great experience. Of course, he didn't have any experience. He had experience in something else. You know that. A lot of it. I didn't know the gentleman. I didn't know him. Oh, you have 2,000 phone calls, 3,500 text messages. How is it possible? I happen to have a very good relationship with a woman called Melania. But I would venture to say in all the years that I've known her, I might not have called her 2,500 times. I know I didn't send 3,500 text messages.
Because they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket when it should go to benefit children. Because we deserve better.